Hello everyone, and welcome back to the farm. Not quite sure what we got ourselves in today. You may find this surprising, but I was late to work. So we're gonna run out here, see what Dad and Jeff have been up to. All the equipment's out of the barn. The equipment shuffle makes even less sense when you're really not sure what the overall goal is. Still trying to figure that out. The combine is leaving the barn. He didn't hit the auger or anything. That's usually a good start to the day. At this point, if I had to guess, we're gonna be moving this draper over to that head cart. This is the old head cart. We're gonna put a corn head on and then move the draper to the heavier cart. All-wheel steer, easier to take down the road. We've already started our work today, but make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment. It is one of the easiest and cheapest ways that you can support the channel. So go down there, smash that like button, leave a comment, say hi, say how you're doing, or just leave me an emoji. Based on what I'm gathering, today is draper service day. This is the only header equipment we have this season that isn't going to be new, so we gotta give it a good look over. I can tell you one thing, we need to start power washing these off before we put them away for the year. So one sickle broken. So we got 3 sickles to replace. That's never a good sign. A little bit of a tear starting in the belt. Now, had I been informed that that's what we were going to be working on, I would have came over here to the other shop and gotten the parts we needed to fix the sickles, the guards, all that jazz. And they are in this box, it looks like. Very organized. It's easy to tell. Draper parts. What part is in which box? You have no idea. You just know it goes with the draper, so you take all the boxes. Now, a third box as well. Take these to the top. Speaking of draper repairs and parts and belts, for those of you who've been living under a rock for about the last year and a half, we're in the midst of a global supply chain breakdown. What that means is parts as simple as this are very hard to come by. If you are planning on running any kind of heavy equipment soon, whether it be for harvest or dirt work or whatever, and you have not found the parts you need for very common breakdowns, you would completely be doing yourself a disservice by not ordering those high demand parts. We ordered 1 replacement belt for our 630 FD draper, that minor little tear I just showed you. I think it took 4 weeks for it to come in. Not planning on it breaking, but it is likely with the tear it could get worse. A lot of times minor things turn into major things. Likewise, for that brand new 735 FD, we ordered another belt to have on stock for replacement. If my tiny little anecdotes are not good enough justification for you guys to do some preparation for your farm or any kind of heavy equipment operation, I said in the last video, our local John Deere dealership is waiting on 26 brand new drapers that have probably been on order for months. They haven't came in. I believe they're waiting on belts. Combines are months behind being built. If they are having problems getting things out of the factory to the customer who's already paid for it, good luck getting a replacement part, a belt, whatever it is. It can be small and stop a very large machine. Heck, you guys know it, a $50 part can shut down a $500,000 machine if you don't have it. So make sure you're doing all that stuff because farming is time sensitive. We have a very limited window to get our crop out. We can't afford to have machines down. So go call your best friend right now, the parts man. I'm sure you're always in a tremendous mood when you see them. Order those parts you need. So there are 2 broken sickles. Here are 2 new ones. This impact wrench is a little overkill. Wouldn't have to try too hard to snap these in half. No. That was the easy one. The other one's kind of parked in here with a guard. These are the fun ones to change that pop out really easy. Then on the other hand, you have the ones that line up under the guard. And it's almost easier just to take the guard out completely to pop it out. Do about 30 seconds more work to save you 5 minutes worth of headaches. This has been pretty easy on this draper on its final days of last harvest season. Only had 3 sickles to change. I didn't know how this project was gonna go, so I brought the propane torch in case I had to use heat to persuade something. Wasn't necessary. You go to the south about 3 inches, 2 foot back. These all-wheel steer carts are a little bit different to mangle the tongue around on. we looked over most of the external stuff. Now we need to look at some internal things, like the gearbox, some drive shafts, which involves putting it on the ground. For some reason the unloading auger's out. Park brake off. Let's reposition. Put her down. Have another rain in the distance. That's one of the nice parts about not having a fancy shop to do all your service in. It takes next to no excuse to not work outside. It's a beautiful day to watch someone else work, Jeff. I'm waving. That way they'll know I actually do stuff around here. Yeah, Jeff is concerned because no one thinks he does anything here, but he actually does a lot. Unfortunately for him though, one of his biggest skills is waxing equipment, which is one of my worst skills by choice. That right there is the holy Bible of John Deere equipment. The operator's manual. 600 FD series draper. This is a 630 FD. Perfect. The boss just left to sign his life away on our nice new fancy John Deere equipment. It's all sitting at our local dealership. It is absolutely sweet. You guys are going to love it when it shows up. But since he's gone, I'm trying to decide what my future is right now. Do I continue servicing the draper? Watch Jeff wax the tractors and not help at all? Or do I go home and take a nap? I could take a nap while watching Jeff work and then wait for someone else to show up and service the draper. Seems like the most efficient use of my energy. Oh, I crack myself up sometimes. I believe there are 4 gearboxes on this. Just need to find the page. Usually it's earmarked. Safety, safety, safety. It's a lot of safety. Calibration, operation, maintenance. That's what we need. Routine machine inspection. There we go. Start with the main gearbox, which I believe is that one. What size is that? I'm gonna go with a 24. A little big. 22. Just right. It is generally very easy to tell. These have an ample amount of oil in them. Let it clean the dirt off. Almost there. Oh, that's a squirter. Say there's plenty of oil in that one. Typically oil shooting out of it aggressively is a very good sign that it has an adequate amount of oil. Yep, center feed gearbox. Right there on that, and that's what we're dealing with. It's gonna be kind of hard to see this because it's tucked right in there. Unfortunately, I had to use my right hand on the last one. I'm gonna have to use my left hand on this. Okay. Survey says, oh, that's got enough too. It wasn't quite as excited to be let loose. Still had plenty. The worst part about not cleaning these off before putting them away for the winter is when you get them out in the fall, they kind of trigger your allergies a little prematurely. There's 2 more gearboxes, one on this side under this left fairing and one under the right fairing. And man, that looks spicy. This is nightmare fuel. Oh good, Dad's calling. Hello? It's in there. It's set up in there. It sits where our normal, like where our 2630 screen would sit in like the 9460R we have now. But that screen there doesn't do anything. It's the armrest screen that's built into the chair is the smart monitor. Yeah, same with the combine. Okay. Well, that was Dad with the first of probably a gazillion Green Star John Deere auto steer system questions of the year. In and out, real fast. You never know how much braking it's going to take with the breaker bar. This one shouldn't be too excited to be opened up. It's a dipstick. Yeah, plenty of oil on that one. Nice and snug. I've already got my workers' comp claim figured out here. Excessive respiratory issues caused by interaction with soybean pollutant. Again, plenty of oil. You really wouldn't expect any issues on a 10-year-old head. but it's starting to get to that age where you really got to pay close attention to it. Not that we haven't serviced it every year from the start. Put them back to normal. Organization is key. What happens once the lid is closed is really not my problem. Well, we've serviced everything that's important, so you know what time it is. Grease time. The battery is good. Let's go get to it. Check this bad boy out. Exactly what we needed. Another mower. How'd you guess, Dad? If you really want to know how prepared we were for this very easily predictable part shortage that's upon us, we've been collecting since probably the 70s. Most of the parts on these shelves go to stuff that we got rid of 20 years ago. It's important to keep it though, just in case it fits on a new piece of equipment. Anyone recognize what that is right there? Those are the rotary blades off of a bean head, a bean row head, not a draper, an independent row head. Instead of having sickles, I had these star knives in every row. If you're still running one of those and you can't find a new one, give me a call. Got plenty of parts that we don't need. Even though we do need parts, just not these parts. Okay, back on a more serious note, I heard that this shortage does apply to oil filters. So if you need those, make sure you get them. We've got enough in here to last us at least until next season. And don't give me that John Deere this, John Deere that. This problem applies to every manufacturer across every industry. John Deere, Case, New Holland, GMC, Chevy, Ford. It does not matter. They cannot get the parts. Work usually slows down to a snail's pace when one of your farmer buddies shows up to conversate. Yeah, guilty as charged, just participated in a 15-minute BS session. It's pretty easy to get distracted when you're not looking forward to the task at hand. Greasing qualifies as one of those unenjoyable things. A miserably important job. This is the grease circ diagram. It also tells you how many hours you're supposed to do every one. Usually you start every year with a full load of grease and about everything. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably 10 or 12 zerks on this. Shouldn't take long. 3 on each side done. Now we can do the fun ones here off the main drive shafts. On.
Go. Oh.
Sometimes it's easier to completely disassemble them to grease them, barring how hard it is to put back on. Working?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it was surprisingly easy to put that back on. Just kidding, it wasn't easy at all. Putting that main drive shaft on requires a lot of shimmying and a few curse words. It's like an advanced difficulty PTO. It only had a little bit of bean dust to go with it. We're ready to rock and roll. Now we're gonna finally use that combine, pick up the 630 FD, and put it over on the head cart. I'm gonna find a nice place to lean and cover my energy. Trying to get it off the ground, no good. Try number 2. He's kind of cockeyed with it, which makes it very difficult to hook up to. There we go. Not quite. Try number 3. There's the money shot. It's just like riding a bike with a rusty frame and flat tires. This cart right here hasn't had any of our drapers on it yet, so it might need readjusted. The previous owner had 35-foot drapers, which does change the alignment of it slightly. Just wanted to grease the trailer a little bit. I know that we're gonna have to adjust these, so I'm gonna go ahead and loosen them. That way I don't have to do it with the draper sitting on top of me. We have some intruders in our barn. The winged rats, as some people like to call them, that reside on that bin. Get out of here! Thought I saw a third one. They set up an outpost. They seem to be expanding to new territory. The last thing I'm going to let happen is them get into the shed with our nice John Deere equipment. And this is why I loosened them before we started. It's a pretty easy indicator. Line up the rusty spot with the rusty spot, you're golden. I've been reassigned roles. I'm now combine operator. Loading and unloading the draper are like elementary education for hand signals. Up, down, back, forward, pretty simple. It's the more exotic things you do that can get rather complicated. Never gonna complain about being the guy in the combine cab enjoying the AC. Well, my dad works his heart away. Doing a good job, Dad. Whew. It's chilly in here. So we had to spin this rod right here to adjust the bar it sits on. For a bigger head, it sits out farther. We need to bring it in a little more. That way when we unhook it, the front of the head doesn't miss that bar and just fall straight down onto the ground. Or at least crush the head cart. That one down there looks good, but I'll wait for visual confirmation. No, nope. We're getting the upward hand signal. It wants me to rotate it. One way. I gotta go forward. Now we're gonna put it down. Good. I'm not holding any weight, but I'm not gonna back out until I'm sure that it's set. It's that easy. We're gonna go put her away. Follow the man in the red shirt. We're operating on turtle speed. Very fitting to pull in the barn. If I run on even half bunny, I get in trouble because it's just too loud or too aggressive or whatever. Nothing quite builds your confidence being parked right next to a very easily destroyable door than an electronic parking brake. Safety first. Both 9-460Rs that are going to be staying on the farm this year, we just topped them off with diesel fuel. Usually best to keep the tanks full at all times. It usually saves you some headaches down the road to have as much diesel fuel on the farm as possible. You're kind of crooked, Jeff. Yeah. The combine's not really straight either, so that's probably why. You're parallel with the combine. So I guess that's my fault, because I parked the combine. It only took about an hour to get dust back on your wax. Pull it into your nice barn. You want that 7330 in here?
I want it in that hole there behind the truck.
Okay.
Hook the bottom with the motor and wax this thing.
Gotta get this ready for the grain cart in case we need it.
The other grain cart.
Yeah, the second grain cart. This could pull a 2,000 bushel cart, I think.
Down the road empty.
It could barely pull an 850 cart when it's wet. Every tractor is important. It's kind of fun when you're the one shouting out all the hand signals and not the one having to translate them. This old gal's days are numbered. It won't be long. We got a new tractor on the way. I still haven't unveiled the new tractor or the new combine yet, any more than just giving some hints. But here's a hint for the tractor. Category 5 hitch. Surprisingly, this 9-shank inline ripper came with a Category 4 hitch. It was actually cheaper to put a larger hitch on the ripper than it was to put a smaller hitch pin in that tractor. I don't know if anyone knows how to rearrange your bathroom schedule, because I'm scheduled at like 5 o'clock right now, which is a terribly inconvenient time for harvest. When you're out in the middle of a 400-acre field and you gotta use the bathroom, we don't quite have the hilly terrain to hide your antics out there. This flat ground doesn't hide any of your secrets. The last thing I wanted to do today was give you guys a little bit of an update on our soybeans. Not much has changed since last video, so it won't take very long. I won't nerd out on you and make a 45-minute video about agronomy. Sometimes the words start coming out of my mouth and I just can't shut them off. This farm of 3.9 Pioneer Extend soybeans is just right here behind the farm. They were planted relatively early in good conditions. I'm liking what we're seeing so far. They don't really seem to be that far behind our 3.1s in the other field, surprisingly. They're starting to kind of get that golden look to the pods. A good quantity of pods. I am really optimistic for this harvest season. My sister's on vacation right now, so I've been entertaining the dog. Are you sad that your parents are gone? Oh, poor puppy. It's so hard being a dog. This August has been the polar opposite of last August. I mentioned that we had no rain for about 7 to 8 weeks, from mid-July till about the first week of October. Well, we're just getting spoon-fed rains, a couple tenths every couple days. Sometimes we'll get an inch, sometimes we'll get a half inch. You really couldn't ask for more for your soybean crop. When you keep getting these nice drips of moisture on there, it's like having an IV hooked up to them, juicing them up. They'll fill those pods. We should have a really good yield. Although no crop is ever made till it's in the bin or at the elevator. You never want to count your chickens before they hatch. You can see out here in the field there's areas that are a little bit more laid over, so you have good stand there, laid over there, maybe a little bit laid over there, good stand over there. I wonder if these areas have a higher density of pods so the stems can't support them, or if these plants are just a little bit weaker. Like here's an area that's way laid over. I mean, there's a lot of pods in this area. I can't really quantify though whether or not it has more or less than a competing area. Could just be coincidence. These plants could have grown taller. These are shorter. The heavy rain laid them over and they just couldn't stand back up. Shouldn't be an issue with yield because we did spray fungicide. As long as the beans aren't touching the ground, you really have nothing to worry about. And that concludes your very lengthy crop tour and discussion for the day. Before we end the video, I'm going to warn you guys one more time just to show you how serious I am. If you know of any essential parts that you will need for your operation for this fall, whether it's petroleum products, electronics, and even metal hardware, you need to order some of that. Obviously, you're not going to stock $5,000 power steering valves for your combine. We had to replace one of those last year. I would just plan on not needing that. Now, if you did, that may be a nightmare. However, any wear and tear parts that you don't normally replace but know can go bad, draper belts, drive belts, anything of that sort, make sure you get them on the books. That way you aren't down this harvest. It is really unprecedented what is going on in the economy right now. I know of some farming operations, now these are deer customers, who may not even get their combine for this harvest. I would be very worried if I was them, and that just shows you the seriousness of the problem. Now that is definitely it for the video. I'm gonna remind you that I am working on merch. I'm not just blowing smoke on that one. I'm gonna put together another harvest equipment tour, and if you guys have any other ideas, drop them in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all your support. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!